Hello, YouTube! I am Pinstar, and this is Frostpunk Strategies and Tactics, Episode 1. So yeah, about a week or so ago, I released sort of my blind first dive into this game, and kind of waffled around there, but between then and now, I have done my normal playing and replaying and learning and strategizing of the game like crazy, and I'm ready to bring you a full, proper strategy and tactics series. So, without any further ado, let us get started. Now, we are going to be doing the new home. That's what I've been sort of honing my strategy for. And as normal, we are going to be playing on hard. Yes, hard mode for this strategy. Now, that being said, the strategies and the tactics that I present during the series will still work and apply to the easier difficulty level. So don't feel that you need to do those yourselves, but these will keep you afloat even on the harder settings. So let's get started. Okay, a new home. We have to survive. Let us go forth. Now, the most important thing that we can do here, once this little intro here starts up, is pausing. Yes, fight the cold and fight the timer. Pause button is your friend in this game. This is what prevents it from being an RTS, which normally is the type of game I would avoid. Right then, so on hard mode, in contrast with the others, you don't start with any physical materials and very little food. So things are a lot tighter. That being said, we need to get things up and running quickly. So what we're going to do here, and here's my first tip to you, the order of operations. What you want to do is you want to assign your workers to their places, and actually what we want to assign them going down first. So down here to these wood crates, down here to these wood crates, to this steel, and of course over here to the coal pile. We will leave some people not working these things for a little bit, just to, well, we're going to be building pretty soon. Actually, you know what we could do? We could just throw 5 people in here, just to get all feet on the ground for the time being. So, what that's going to do is our people are going to start making their way out to the various places. We're going to get a gaggle of people pushing out this way. We're going to get a gaggle of people pushing out that way. Luckily, because everybody has been assigned to these various places, we are getting our material income going right away, and that's extremely important. Yes, I know, workers needed. No, we're not doing this law yet. However, there is another law that we are doing, and I actually probably should have done that before we unpaused. Not the end of the world that we had it otherwise. So we are going to crack open the Book of Laws. However, kicking open child labor is not the order of business. No. My recommended first law, my favorite first law to go with, is emergency shift. Boom. So this allows you to have a work shift extended by 24 hours as sort of a temporary measure. And that is something we are going to be pressing into service. However, we're not going to press that into service right now. You can press it into service for these, these resource piles. Not what we're going to do here. All right, as soon as we build up 15 wood or more, in this case 16 wood, we are ready for phase 2. There's going to be a lot of little phases here. So what we're going to do is we're going to plan out our infrastructure. We're going to do a build a street, and we're going to stretch it out for 15 woods worth. I mean, we could do 16, but we only need 15 woods worth. Draw it out like that. Now, in order to get this street built, we need to have people, available to build it. Now, notice how we have a gaggle of people here and a gaggle of people here. And when we highlight, see how when we highlight somebody, one of the workplaces gets highlighted? See how that steel pile is sort of blinking as I go over certain people? That means these people are working in these different things. So what we want is we want the people nearby this street to be the ones that actually build it. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to take people off of here and make them be the ones that actually construct this thing. So I'm going to leave these guys on the rest of these guys on here, but soon we have more to build. So we're just going to have those 5 engineers that were on there in this steel wreckage go here and start building the street. And this is precisely what we need them to do. And since they're right there, they're building it quickly and building it efficiently while everybody else continues to tick us up materials. So what we're waiting for here is for the requisite 10 steel as well as 15 wood. That should come fairly quickly. And in the meantime, they're building a street that we need to build anyway, so these 5 people not working on gathering materials is not a problem. All right, 15 wood, over 10 steel. That's exactly where we want to go here. That's enough. Actually, we don't even need the 10. I was mistaken. We only need 5 steel. But we still need the 15 wood for this gathering post. Now, this particular gathering post, we want to build it down here so that it encapsulates all 3 of these 2 wood piles plus the steel pile. Unfortunately, the way they made it is you cannot make a gathering post that captures more than 3 different piles. They spaced out. You can get 1 gathering post over here to get 3 of these, and 1 over here to get these 2. We got 2 coal piles over here and 2 coal piles over here, but that's about it. So these 3 furs up here is probably about as efficient as we get, and since we have the road going out here, well, we've already got the infrastructure needed for it. So bada boom. Now we do need 10 people to build this, so we are going to kick 5 people off of here. That is going to give us once the people finish building the street here, they will jump onto this project here. We could actually build it a little faster by kicking a few more people off of here. Because we do want to get started on building that. There's a few other mission critical things that we want to get built ASAP. We may have let too many people go from there to begin with. That should get some people to turn around. Although, yeah, it looks like they've already locked in an action to do something else. So slight misplay on my part, not the end of the world. What we're waiting for, our next little milestone here, is to build up to 20 wood, which should not take too long. Especially once this completes and we get people on here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the 10 people from here, we're going to assign them to here. Because we want this gathering post gathering as much as possible. In fact, remember that emergency shift that we kicked off? Guess what? Boom. We are going to hit that on the gathering post. We want this thing churning all day and all night for 24 hours. Now, that's not going to make people terribly happy with us. That being said, because our discontent starts at 0, hang on, we got 20 wood. I'll finish my thought in a moment. Because our discontent starts at 0, we can bank some, well, bad will. We can squander some of our goodwill, spend some bad will, and get some more materially effective laws and policies in place. And then once everyone starts gnashing their teeth a bit more, then we can roll out the good guy Greg stuff. Right then, 20 wood, we need to get a hunter's hut built and operational and staffed before 1800. We need hunters getting more food for us right from the get-go. The game, especially on hard mode, because the game starts you out with so little food, and because the rate of food gain is lowered, you get less food compared to the easier difficulty levels. We want to make sure that we are gathering food ASAP. Now, because hunters' huts do not care about the ambient temperature, you do not need to heat them, you don't need to put them in heat zones, you don't need to do any of that stuff with them. You can safely stick them out in the boonies. The problem with sticking them out in the boonies in the early game is normally you don't have roads stretched out to the boonies. We happen to have a road stretched out to the boonies, and it works out for us. So we're going to build this thing out in the boonies and have our 10 free people come build it. Oh, in the meantime, yeah, we want to take all the people off of these and get them in here. We do have, 15 of 15 and 15 of 15 down here. That's fine. But yeah, we don't want people individually picking at the wood crates because we don't want them to deplete too quickly, because otherwise we'd squander the effectiveness of this 24-hour shift. Right then. As soon as this finishes building, we will have our we'll have 15 people going in there. We have 10 people who are working as builders. The other thing that we want to get up and running quickly here is to get ourselves a medical tent, but that requires 25 wood. So you can tell wood's kind of our bottleneck here. The other thing we could do here, especially. Yeah, what we could do here, let's get some people going on these wood crates just to improve our wood income a little bit more, and also sort of give us a pivot to get more gathering ready to go for tomorrow. We're not going to be doing too much over here, but we do want to get some people moving over here. Among the people that will be finishing this drive up, we'll be kicking over some workers into this. There we go. All right, you're there, so we'll get these available. Where is... We got engineers. All right, engineers... Here's what we're going to do. We're going to drop you down, get the engineers in here, get 5 of you back in here, get 10 of you guys in here. Because again, and we got this right in time, we want everybody to go hunting on here. Now they're going to be, it's going to take them a little while to get over there, but they should still be able to make it out in time for the hunt and come back with a full lot of food. That's important. The other thing is once the bell rings, we want to get ourselves that medical post down ASAP. We can, we'll throw it down right here. It's fine. As long we want that in that first ring, because unlike the hunter's hut, the medical post very much cares about being nice and toasty warm, and without it, bad things. So our hunters are going to go do their thing. Our people are going back from work, except for our poor schmucks at the gathering post. And what do we have? No roof over heads. You know what? Here's the thing about this one. This housing problem right here, especially this early one, on easy mode, you can make this happen. You can make this happen. Before this cooldown goes out, you can make this happen. Hard mode, we have other things we need to address. So I'm going to say I won't address this right now. Yes, that's going to give us a kick in the pants for discontent, but if you promise it and fail it, the penalty is a lot worse. So it is a lot better to go and let these... what do we got here? Yes, oh right, the heating is off. So we've gathered enough coal, we can turn the heat on. And we do want to do that because we do want to get people nice and toasty warm in here. We do want to get 5 of our engineers off of that wood crate so that we can staff them into this. Boom. And wisdom of the crowd, thank you very much. Yes, you do not have to listen to every demand that the crowd makes of us. That is apparent. So this is the reason why we want that 24-hour shift. We want to continue building throughout the night, and this allows us to continue getting a wood income. Now there's a couple other steps that we want to take here. People are going to be getting hungry, but they're not going to have to eat, and they're not going to be able to eat until tomorrow. I would hold off, regardless of your difficulty level, I would hold off on building the cookhouse until the next day. and the cookhouse requires, subsequently speaking, 20 wood. So now at this point we can build it. They're not going to be able to work it in time, but there's 2 reasons not to build the cookhouse until the next day, or at least until after work time after the first day. One is that they don't need it because they start the game with their stomachs full, so to speak. But secondly is that we will be having another law that we want to get onto the books pretty soon. And yeah, again, cookhouse, we want that in that first ring. Yes, I know we are out of wood. But now, since everybody is awake and they're also on free time, they will go and build that, which is handy for us. The other thing that we want to get up and running is a workshop once we get ourselves 15 wood. That might have to be relegated to be built in the morning, but that's okay. Now, the reason why we wanted to beeline the medical hut so quickly, even though we have no sick people, is in about, I'd say a little bit less than an hour, the game is going to start rolling sickness checks for the people that worked that day shift. And a certain number of people are going to get sick. These people are going to go right into that medical tent and immediately start their treatment rather than building up. The sooner people start their treatment, the sooner they get out of treatment, and therefore the sooner they free up more beds. So having a single medical post online as soon as possible will allow you to treat more patients overall with fewer, if any, falling to grave illness. And that being said, we are going to be taking precautions to sort of minimize the amount of sickness that people will be experiencing here. Now, for as far as staffing goes, we could take people off of these wooden crates for the moment. Although, actually, you know what? We don't really need as much steel at the moment, so we can kind of lay off the steel wreckage. We do want people still picking at that coal. We do want people picking at these crates tomorrow anyway. We're not kicking off any more 24-hour shifts. And that's my next tip to you. So the way the game works is that it is hard-coded that, your first 24-hour shift that you kick off, people will get annoyed about it, but otherwise that doesn't cause too much harm. The second 24-hour shift that you kick off will kill somebody. It'll say somebody had a heart attack and died from overwork. That's scripted. Second use of that 24-hour shift will kill somebody. Now, afterwards, you can continue working using them and not have any scripted deaths. You'll just have to soak up the discontent. That being said, having to deal with a death this early in the game would be inconvenient for a legal standpoint, because then we'd have to go down the route of enacting what do we do with our dead and those types of laws, and that's inconvenient because there's other stuff we want to do. So we don't want to kill people for that reason, as well as we need more warm bodies working. So we are not going to be kicking off a second 24-hour shift. This is our one and probably only 24-hour shift in the game. But it happens at such an important time in our colony's development that it is worth the anger from both kicking off the law as well as enacting that shift itself. So it is worth the price of admission, all said and done. Right then, workshop. Now, workshops, here's a little tip for you. They spread out like this. I like to keep things nice and cleanly in rings. If you click your mouse wheel button, it will rotate them into a nice ring-long thing. The other thing is the workshops are very naturally insulated. They do not need the heat from the inner ring right away. Later in the game, yeah, they might need a little heat. But I do not want to take up real estate in my inner ring with my workshop. So I build them basically in the second ring where the heat doesn't reach yet. And that's fine. We will not have to worry too much about sickness. Speaking of sickness, here comes our sickness checks. We've already got one person who is sick. You're going to get that. And on higher difficulties, you're going to get more of that, because I don't know the exact numbers, but the percent chance of people falling ill per check is slightly higher on the harder difficulty levels. But you're still going to get that even on the easier ones. So you still want to have those medical facilities in place. All right, getting a little warning about our coal use going up. That's fine. We'll have people going at that coal pile tomorrow. All right, got 2 people in there. We have room for 5. So as long as it doesn't spill over into 5, we are in the clear. And how many you get is kind of random because, like I said, it's like a saving throw. You know, it seems like under the hood, the game will roll a dice, and you know how many people pass their health check and don't need to get sick versus how many people do, based on the conditions, the heating conditions in their workplaces. There's 3. And then also in their workplaces and in their homes. Now, their homes are non-existent, so they basically operate. Their homes are 0 insulation, but they sleep next to the generator. So having the generator on at night is extremely important because that will give them at least +1 warmth, so that they're not, you know, getting sick left and right. Once we start building houses, we can build them either near the generator, or actually the strategy I'm going to be showing you is away from the generator, and I'll show you how that works, both short and long term. Right, we can do our next law here. So let's open up the books. Now, this comes at just the right time, because what we do need to do, and what we've been putting off, is we haven't cooked any of our food. Any of our starting food will not be cooked until the work shift starts tomorrow. But we're going to need to cook that food because people are going to start getting hungry. That being said, we don't want to cook the food in an inefficient manner. We don't want to make full-size standard meals. We need to stretch that food out. And the best way to stretch the food out is the soup edict. Yes, it will annoy people, but it will get you more food out of the same raw food. And that's really important, especially in the early game. So, soup it is. And make sure that you're it's automatically switched over now, but it doesn't always. I've noticed. So make sure your cookhouse is set to making soup. Here we get 5 food rations from 2 raw food as opposed to 4 food rations. That may seem small, it adds up. So we want to make sure we cook every ounce of food, including our starting food, at the more efficient rate. And again, that's the reason why we saved the soup edict for later, because we didn't need to worry about food at all during the day on the first day. So that's why the emergency shift is the first one we did, because that was immediately useful. Now, it is nighttime, people are sleeping, so that's why they're not working on this workshop. What they will do is they will wake up around 5 in the morning or so, and that should give them enough time to get this operational before any of this comes online here, before they have to get to work proper. Yeah, you have more engineers here, so we are going to siphon away some of you. We're going to siphon away some of you. We're going to put the workers over here, and those five engineers will be employed at the workshop proper. We also want to make sure we have enough raw materials in here to actually kick off our first bout of research when the workday works. So as long as this is completed by 0800, then it'll be start working, and everybody else will start working as soon as the day starts, and that's extremely important and extremely useful for us. And of course, our poor gathering post people over here are still toiling away, but they'll have to deal. Excellent. Looks like we're going to be done in time. Beautiful. All right. Max thing. Let's add a new research. For our research here, there are a number of different things that we want to get online going here. Probably the more important one is the hunter's gear, because again, especially on hard, hunter's gear is probably your most important first research. Earlier difficulties, you can get away with putting that off a little bit, but food will become a problem if you put it off for too long. The other key ones that we want to look at super early in the game is faster gathering and the Steam Hub. Steam Hub's going to need to come soon, but I do think food is going to be the more important one for us. Now, obviously, it's not going to apply for that, but we got our full 13 raw food from our hunters yesterday, and that works out nicely for us there. We want to make sure that we complete this task, this invention, if you will, this development before 1800 of this day, so that tonight's hunting party has those advanced tools equipped for them and ready to rock and roll. Now, to conserve fuel here, we are going to, once the 1800 hits, shut down the generator. Because it is not cold enough to shut down, even with the generator off, shut down the medical post, which is useful. All right, so our first 24 hours is complete. So I hope you guys enjoyed this opener episode. If you like this episode and you want to see more like it, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and leave me a comment, good, bad, or indifferent. Your feedback's always welcome. I'm also a Humble Bundle affiliate, so if you have not purchased this game and you're curious about picking it up and you want to support the channel, check out the link down in my description below for more information on how you can get both. So until next time, this has been Pinstar signing out. See ya.